Well, it looks like we're angels now, so I gotta take care of the sun. But as a Latino intellectual, I really enjoy this movie. And we're back.
Welcome back. So this week we're starting with Lon.
Yes, mine is American fiction. I picked it after watching the Academy things. I didn't want to watch a movie right away, so I said, I'm going to pick this one because I probably didn't mention it, but I thought this was really one of the best films of the year.
Absolutely.
I thought, period.
Absolutely.
It's written and directed by Cord Jefferson, and this is his directorial debut of all things, which surprised me. But it's also, he based the screenplay on the novel Erasure by Percival Everett. This is a fascinating look, I think, at a modern African-American in the world of academia and literature, because Jeffrey Wright stars as Thelonious Ellison, talking about jazz musicians again.
Who everybody calls Monk.
Monk, exactly. And I'm assuming just because of his first name. He is a writer. He has not had a great success with his books, but he's sort of well-respected writer, and he's teaching as well. And he lives in Los Angeles, and he's, again, just trying to just get that bestseller or whatever. He just wants to publish his writings, and he's finding it more and more difficult to do. So as he's teaching of all things Southern literature, if I'm not mistaken, American Southern literature. And so, of course, they come up with Flannery O'Connor, in which he writes the most offensive word you can use to an African-American, which is in the title of the work of fiction. So what I laugh is he then has debates with his college students about how offensive this word is to them, having written it on the word. In fact, one student, and this is all at the very beginning. This is why it's so perfect. The setup is so perfect. She just says, there's something wrong with you writing that word on there. It says, no, it has 2 G's. So you know exactly what he's addressing. And he basically tells his students, who are primarily non-black, non-African Americans, they're all sort of white. And he's just saying, well, if I can get over it, I think you can get over it. Yeah. Which is sort of a weird attitude of this day and age now, right? Especially among African-American community, because everybody seems so sensitive about certain things now.
You think?
So.
Isn't he reading a classical novel, though?
No, right. Yeah. Flannery Connor, I think.
Flannery O'Connor.
O'Connor, right. So what happens, I think is funny, is that he's then, of course, chastised for this. And he said, you know what? You need to take a sabbatical. So he then has to go home. I want to say this right out front, because if I'm not mistaken, Tracy Ellis Ross gets second billing in this film.
That was weird.
She has a very tiny part, but she is sort of one of the major names in this film. So I think that's why she's nominated. And also, I don't want to belittle her performance. She's very good playing his sister. She's a no-nonsense. And what I like about it is that Jeffrey Wright goes home to his family, and you find out both his brother and sister are doctors. You're thinking, okay, yeah, this defies what I think most people would think the average African-American family in America is like, right? Exactly.
It defies the stereotype.
Of what we know, because most of the fiction or all the things we see have to do with urban, what I call urban or poor or downtrodden African-Americans usually. This is not the case. This is obviously...
This is the Huxtables.
Right. In a certain way, yes, exactly. And the mother, played by Leslie Uggams, which I thought was delightful for me to see her. I recognized the face. I did not know who it was until the end credits. I think I mentioned that in the Academy Awards. So I'm going to be repeating myself if you watch the Academy Awards show. He is then put in the position of having to take care of his mother, who has Alzheimer's. So she's lucid some days. She's not there all the time. His brother has also gone through some family changes. He was married, had 2 kids, and then basically was caught having sex by his wife with another man. So he's basically is now coming out denying that, and he's being shunned by his actual family now. So everyone's going through their little dilemmas. Tracy Ellis Ross seems the only one who's taking care of the mother, has a career on track, and it seems fine. Well, unfortunately, she sort of gets out of the picture.
Gone.
And once that happens, that's, I thought, when the movie truly comes alive. And like I said, not because of her. It's just the fact that now the family's faced with dealing with their mother, dealing with his career at this time, which is now has been put on hold. And he thinks, well, you're not working. Why don't you write another novel? To which, and I'm assuming it's his agent, literary agent, played by John Ortiz. His name is Arthur. He keeps telling him, well, look, your book, it's been denied. And supposedly, and I think he tells him this, it's not black enough. Right? So this sets him off of being at home, being frustrated, everything. And I think the frustration did also happen because of his family and his sadness with the family, that now he's got to take on more responsibilities that he didn't think he would have to. And what I liked, Jeffrey Wright is such a great actor. Ever since in Basquiat, I just think this guy really can do anything. His most popular films, I think, were probably the Bond films and the Hunger Games that he was in. He really is a phenomenal actor, and I think this is one of his greatest performances. If he won the Oscar for this, I would not have been disappointed at all, because he is playing such a difficult role, because I will call this a drama, but there are so many humorous and funny things in this film that I said, this is what takes it to another level in my personal opinion. So the only other, I would say sort of, for me, major character that I happen to like, and I don't know her name, but it was she played Leslie Uggam's sort of caretaker, who was also there. And she was basically kind part of the family too. Yes, exactly. But she sort of looked after her in a way that both the family just trusted her to be there. So now he's coming in this household. He's, I think, in Boston now. I think that's where the family was, in Boston. Like it was hard for me to tell, because I just know they were.
No, it's Boston.
They did have, I'm assuming, beachfront property.
Yeah, they had beachfront property
at the time. So, of him dealing with frustrations, he decides, and I'm assuming it just happened to be one of these alcohol-fueled kind of frustrations. He drinks a lot. He just centers on, I'm going to try and write
a black book.
what they really want, but go way over the top. And I think I don't know if I'm sort of embellishing it, but to me, I just assume he's doing it over the top. He's going to just say, oh, this is what they want. This is what I'll give them. So he writes a book called My Pathology. So then,
would you spell that?
My Pathology?
Just pathology,
Pathology. So and he gives it to of course, he gives us the thing as a joke, just saying, okay, yeah, send that to the publishers and see if that's black enough. Sure enough, they want to publish it. They want to pay us a lot of money.
I thought it was really funny because he wrote a book before that he's trying to sell. Like the Peloponnesian War or something.
No, exactly. No, but he sold several things. In fact, another part of the setup too is that, he goes to a bookstore and he's looking, it's like, wait a minute, why am I in African American studies? I might be a black author, but it wasn't about African Americans type of thing. Again, another sign of your race sort of defines you in this country, right?
Yes.
So, of course, he writes the book and he has interest, so he decides, I don't want my name attached to it. Come up with another name for it, which they came up with Stagger Lee. And that's what Bob and I were talking about. I never knew what this was. I just happened to notice in Wikipedia, they highlighted it. So I clicked it thinking, he must make a reference to something. And Bob said he remembered a song. I said, well, that's the thing. I looked it up and it said Lloyd Price sang the song, I think in 1958.
He had a big hit.
Right.
But it was an old song at that point.
Right. Well, that's a saying that they're saying, no, it goes back to like the 1800s and the railroad calls. That's where the song originated. So it's based on an old American folk song. which happened to be with a black man killing another black man, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's sort of what happens in his book when he's writing it. And there's some wonderful little bits in that about him writing it and what you see visualized on the screen at times.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the Christmas Carol one where the
where
the
he's right.
characters
Oh,
are
yes.
in the room.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly that.
Yeah.
And then and I'm telling you most of the story because it's his interaction with everyone. And another thing, and I think this is correct, that Jeffrey Wright is almost in every single scene. There's not a scene with them. So you're literally watching this man carry the role, which is why I think he's so great in this role. Right. Because I never once am bored with his character, lose any empathy or sympathy with his character. He has me from the go.
We relate to this character.
I seem to, and I don't know if that's too. Because of my perspective. I don't know the publishing industry.
He seems confused all the time.
But I also don't know if it's that white-dominated kind of thing where, like you said, when they tell you it's not black enough or this and that. But, of course, all of a sudden, everyone wants to publish it, this and that. Then all of a sudden, it becomes such a hit that even sort of people he starts to date, when he meets these, I just love, and he just can't stand the fact that this woman loves this, right?
Well, because he's a snob in some ways, you know what I mean?
Well, because this was meant to be a joke, and that's what he's saying, but she's not getting the joke in a way.
Yeah.
So then he's actually, because of its notoriety, and a literary award panel wants to show their diversity on their panel, they decide to ask 2 authors of African-American descent to be on this panel with 2 other white, or, who knows, I'm not sure if they're European white, etc.
But they're white.
White people.
Let's not get too politically correct here.
But, and
we're not offended.
it's his interactions with this other character. Her name is, where did I go? It's actress Issa Rae playing Sintara Golden. So I thought their interactions are really some of the best that in the film of what is being said about race, literary publishing, audience, commercialism, and truth in writing. So that's the common point. And I don't want to go too far. And though I will say Adam Brody also shows a small little part playing a film director who's interested in the novel. And I thought he was actually, to me, again, in my head, so perfect of that character of what he wants to do with the novel and how he pictures things in his head about African-American people in this world of, and I can just refer to it as urban crime. So the acting, I thought everyone was top notch in this. Yeah. The writing and the adaptation of the screenplay, I thought was really well done. And like I said, I could tell you the entire story, do Patty, tell you everything that happens, and yet you could still watch this movie and be thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, absolutely.
The pot just called the kettle black.
The brother, the guy who played the brother.
Sterling K. Brown. He is very good in it as well. He also got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and you can see why, because he, among their family, you realize, he's sort of the most screwed up. Like, he's not as bad even as Jeffrey Wright's character.
I felt like he was kind of the conduit between normality, even though he's the gay
the whole thing about truth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of the conduit.
So conduit, yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No.
Okay, so I enjoyed the movie too. I thought it was brilliant, actually, because the movie is really about stereotypes, and then I was thinking, do stereotypes apply in modern times? Because we have poor people, the white people, black, Latino, whatever, but there's also affluent people who are white, black, and Latino. And
absolutely.
So
good point.
Do they apply now because we're different times? So we have we're following and a very intellectual, affluent person, and who's being asked to write a book about a stereotyped black person. People go, what's a stereotyped black person then? And you see him having the same issues, his brother's gay, does drugs, has problems, his sister, and then the mother, all the issues that they have, issues that everybody has. Only difference is that they're very affluent. So the that's the point the movie's trying to make, and he's obviously trying to. They're asking him to. It's like, well, I'm not gonna use. I was gonna use a different character from a show, but being asked to. It's like asking anybody who's very affluent and grew up in a certain environment to write about the experience of somebody else, so you have no idea what's it like.
Right.
And that could be anybody. And so if you're but. So yeah, that's the point I'm always trying to make. It's really funny. The lines are really funny. I just love his personality. He's a little bit of a curmudgeon, like the Toyo Maris character.
Yes.
But I thought the dialogue was very smart. It's just such a smart movie. You know that the lady Issa Rae. Initially, he hates her because the books that she writes in the title is just so funny. But as this, and obviously they're asked to join a group to judge writers. But as they're doing that, even though he hates her because he feels like she's capitalizing on it, she's using it, the whole poor black thing. But I noticed that after when it's like talking to each other about voting on these books, he actually starts to agree with her. He kind of changes his tone about her. He's like, oh no, actually, he actually has more in common with her than he realizes. So, and he kind of figures out what she's doing too. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was brilliant.
Not a false moment in this movie, I got to say. It was just astounding. Everybody. First of all, I've never seen Jeffrey Wright give a bad performance. The guy is so good.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about Issa Rae. I loved that character, and I loved what that character did. I think it's a landmark piece of writing, directing, and performing in that it's a movie about people of color, and this drama in it is not about them being people of color so that we can get into every issue in the book. It's about the perception. They use literature as a thing about the perception of people. And that's why I think it's just, I haven't seen this done yet, and I've been waiting for it for a long time, that when they get into the conflict of the story of what he's going through and the step that he takes of making the name Stag R. Lee to write the book, it's about somebody just saying, I've had enough of this crap. And that's kind of the way I felt for a long time. I mean, I'm sick and tired of seeing issues about people because of what their sexuality is, because of what their sex is, because of what their color is. Enough already. Let's get back to having parts written for people because they're good actors, and everybody in this movie is a goddamn outstanding actor.
Yeah.
There's no Sterling K. Brown. I mean, I know I've seen him in something before. I don't know what it was.
This is us.
Huh?
This is
Haven't
us.
seen that.
Oh.
But that guy is so powerful. There's just a presence emanating off
I will
him.
say Hotel Artemis.
There you go. There you go. Yes.
Who?
Artemis Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I know I saw it, but I can't
It's gonna have
remember
to
it.
read my movie sometime.
I saw it years ago. But anyway, I don't want to, since everybody describes everything in the movie already, I'll just say I loved it. See it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was like bringing up the Huxtables. It was like, he has a family, and his family is like everybody's family. They have the screw up brother. They have the mother who's having Alzheimer's. They have the sister who's kind of holding it all together. This is a family, and that's why you relate with it, because everybody has that family, Thelonious Monk Ellison, that's Jeffrey Wright's character, is a great character. It's just, George was saying, it reminded him of the holdovers. He's a curmudgeon. He's very rigid, and it's not that he's wrong. I mean, he does, like I was saying to you, he's got a book out on the Peloponnesian Wars, something like that. And he's trying to sell it. And he can't. So in his frustration, he writes this book that he feels he's doing it like almost like an insult.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to make this as most insulting as I can be based on all the stereotypes, and he doesn't. And I just, like I was telling you, the funniest part to me was when his agent phones him and goes, somebody's buying your book. He's like, yes, really. And he's thinking the Peloponnesian Wars. And they're like, and it was like, what was it called?
My pathology.
My
My
pathology.
pathology, which he changed to fuck.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, no, I don't want that title. I fuck. So that I want. He wants to make it even more
Controversial.
Yes.
Unpublishable.
unpublishable.
I mean, literally, he comes up with that
Yes.
title only because they won't go with
And
that.
that's the one that pushes it over the
They
top.
love it even more. It was like so. So it was just kind of great the way it's. He's actually making a critique of us, and society. I love seeing what's her name, Leslie Uggams as his mother.
Yes.
So I was like, Leslie Uggams, I can't believe it. I haven't heard that name in a million years, but that was his mother.
And I thought she was quite good.
And the reason we're
She's
talking
great.
about
Good, yes.
Leslie Uggams is because Leslie Uggams in the 50s, I think, was a child singer.
Yeah,
She was, she was like, she came into prominence as a child and then, became a show business personality. But we haven't heard anything about her and to see her come back and give such a beautiful performance.
Yeah, it was amazing. So there really are no surprises in this. It's kind of like, it goes kind of where you think it's going to go. But it's presented in such a humorous way that you're just like happy to go along with it. It's really funny.
And they really do feel like a family.
It really did. And it really felt. This is on a book, based on a book called Erasure by Percival Everett.
Erasure or erasure?
Erasure.
Erasure. Erasure. What do you think that
Oh,
is?
erasure. Okay. I thought, yeah.
Yeah,
By
Eraser.
Percival
It sounded like you were
Everett. I
saying
could be
Eurasia.
wrong. I could be wrong. Believe me.
No, I thought you were saying Eurasia now.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure that I 100% agree with the
Commentary?
no, the conclusion. I'm not 100% sure I agree with the conclusion.
I don't know what the conclusion is.
The
ending of the
conclusion
film?
to me is kind of like, okay, I'm going to be very controversial. Just
Spoilers?
lay back and enjoy it.
No.
You know what I mean? Just go,
Yes.
just go with it. Or let's use a surfing one. Just go with the flow. That's the way it is, right? I just think that it was, like you said, it was an amazing, perfect family movie with the Hustables.
Well, everybody said everything I was going to say, but Jeffrey Wright I first saw with literally, he said 2 lines and I really noticed him. Like, this guy has got something. Every so often, I'll get that. Angels Over America, that was it.
Oh,
where I
my
first
God.
noticed him.
Yeah.
And he played, to Robert De Niro, he played the nurse.
It was a nurse, yeah.
A really gay, snitty nurse, but he did it really good, right? This movie I love because I think him in the interplay with everybody else, it flows so smooth. And I'm thinking it has to be the acting and the writing, but mostly the acting. I mean, you can only do that if you're an incredibly good actor. And he's not playing a part that's like extreme, which I don't know about acting, but I would think that would be easier than playing a normal person because it's subdued. But there's no wrong in my book for Jeffrey Wright. And Sterling,
He's not Jeffrey.
He was
Yeah.
great.
He's not Jeffrey
to
Wrong.
me,
He's Jeffrey
he
Wright.
should have played, he should have won
Oh,
the
Sterling-
best supporting actor.
he's
I
great.
think he brought levity. You're watching a man trying to come out of the closet, middle-aged, and he's just doing it the way he
Well, he
knows
seems
best.
to have no problem coming out of the closet,
No,
which
but-
I really liked.
But he does it like
Well,
a
I sort of
middle-aged guy.
disagree because he obviously had problems dealing with his mother because
Yeah.
of her.
Well, his
Yeah.
mother had problems with him, but he
Yeah.
didn't seem to have problems at
Well,
all.
he did it like a middle-aged person who doesn't quite know how to do it.
Well,
And
he's-
he was the
I
levity.
thought he
in
knew
it.
how to do it great.
Okay, I'm done.
That's it.
So-
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Should I rate
so
it?
we're gonna score this. I'm sorry. Let's see, George.
Well, it looks like we're angels now, so I gotta take care of the son. But as a Latino intellectual, I really enjoy this movie. I give it a 10.
Wow.
I already gave a 10 to another movie, so I can't do it again.
Well, I'm also going to give this a 10.
Wow.
I'm
was
going to
great.
give it a 10.
Oh, wow. I gave this a 7. Definitely.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
That's high for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be right
So we'll
back
be back.
next week.
Right back.